Brandon Staley, the fact that the Chargers didn't fire him, it just shows everything wrong with the Chargers. And we haven't even dove into the meat and potatoes of what's wrong with the Chargers and why the Chargers are cursed. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Brandon Staley,
just this game for now.
He was on the hot seat entering the game. There was reports that if he lost this game, he would be fired.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to pretend I'm Dean Spanos for a minute. Brandon Staley's on the hot seat. I'm like, all right, this is your game to prove that you're a good head coach. You're facing a Super Bowl winning head coach. You're facing Trevor Lawrence, who is ascending as a NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
You're facing a good team, a team that won the division, a team that is fire hot. And you're convinced that he's the head coach of your team moving forward after he had a 27-point lead. He has 5 turnovers that he takes away from Trevor Lawrence. You don't turn the ball over at all. And you lose. You're a defensive head coach and you lose a 27-point lead. How do you have any faith in this man moving forward? How do you see that? How is that convincing you? Oh, that's enough for me. He'll be my head coach next year.
Yeah, my problem is he's a defensive head coach and your weakness is stopping the run. That's fine when you're up 27. At least we can stop the pass, right? It's like your weakness is stopping the run. And they're not running the football. We should be dropping back, playing prevent coverage, still sitting on those routes. Like, how all of a sudden the Jags figure out how they could get separation in the second half? It's ridiculous. The entire first half, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa were sitting in Trevor Lawrence's lap. The entire first half, Asante Samuel, Derwin James were allowed to get away with near murder. And it's not like there were a ton of pass interference calls either. And then all of a sudden you get shredded by Evan Ingram. And that was another reason why I picked the Jags, where I felt like he's going to be a game breaker in this game, even though he may not be the best player on the field. I feel like matchup wise, he creates the most issues. That's what ended up happening for the Jags. But it's like, you still only lost by 1 point. And then the fact that Doug Peterson is like, I'm going to go for it, go for 2, and then make it a field goal game. You're Mr. I'm going to go for it on 4th down. If there's a time where you go for it on 4th down, it's this game because we're trying to put it away. You're one of the best teams at going for it on 4th down. You have Justin Herbert put the ball in his hands. It's like, what are you doing to this guy's confidence? Too, we've seen with Trevor this year, we've seen with Tua this year, coaching matters. And when you're not told that, yeah, you're the best guy, your entire high school and college career, Justin Herbert, Tua of all people was taken over him. What do you think that does to his confidence? Imagine you're in the draft and Tua gets taken over you. You would be crushed. You're like, you really think Tua's better than me? So it's like, this is a guy where it's like, you got to juice him up, pump up his confidence, get your team fired up. If you convert a key 4th down in this game, blows the game open. Brandon Staley's problem was he was analytics driven and he went for it. Okay, you have an identity there. Then he just lost all sight. He's like, well, people criticize me when I go for it on 4th down because I've lost some games. When you're up 4 scores, go for it and just put the game away. Like, field goals are not going to help you.
Yeah, the big thing with this game also is the second half adjustments.
Yeah.
Great head coaches make second half adjustments. Doug Peterson, this game, second half adjustments. I can tell how great a team is coached by how they come out in the second half.
Right.
Another game that we'll talk about in a minute is the Vikings and Giants game. Another key matchup there. Second half adjustments.
Yeah.
This game, in the first half, they were outscored 27-7. They outscored them 24-3 in the second half.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the defense. It's like, how do you go from one end of the spectrum where you're literally dominating the Jaguars to the Jaguars are getting everything on you?
With no turnovers.
No turnovers.
No short fields. We're marching the field the whole time. And then the first half, the Chargers got the benefit of the doubt where you had 4 turnovers. So you had a short field when you scored. The Chargers in this game didn't show they can march the length of the field in a playoff game.
Yeah. And as far as the Chargers, the help that they need, first of all, had to fire Brandon Staley, didn't fire Brandon Staley. Now you fired Joe Lombardi and the QB coach. Well, I agree. You should have fired both of those guys. But, like, your head coach blew a 27-0 lead. You have Sean Payton out there who said, I'm interested in the Chargers. I'm interested. It's like having a girlfriend that's a 5 and a supermodel comes up to you and says, I would love to be with you. And she's everything that you want her to be and more. And you decide, I'm going to stick with her, even though she's flawed and even though she cheats on me and it doesn't treat me well.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.